I wanted to ask you about the food challenge.
Oh, okay.
How did that go for you?
Phew, the first day is always rough because I've got to overcome my immediate thoughts of, well, I can't have this, I can't have this, and I can't have this, and if this is all I can have, then what in the world am I going to eat, you know? So the first day is always rough. It's always rough. And I went to bed with a really big headache. But I'd cut out all the caffeine, too.
Oh, wow.
Do you see what I'm saying? That.
So you didn't have any Dr. Pepper yesterday?
No, none. Wow. I didn't have anything but water.
You go, girl.
I did. And I'd fixed a roast and potato and carrots. So when I got the morning, I thought, oh my gosh, I haven't even been to the grocery. There aren't any fruits or vegetables in the house. What in the world am I going to eat? The roast is done. Let's have roast. Okay, so we're going to have roast for breakfast. Okay, well, whatever. That's what I had. And it was okay on the list. So that's what I had. But I had a very small portion of it. And I began starting to just eat until I'm not hungry anymore.
That's still a hard one for me. I almost screwed up last night.
I'm used to eating and being good for 12 hours. Not eating until I'm not hungry anymore. And then 2 hours later, I mean, you're like, I ate rice. It didn't last long.
Which brings up another point that I wanted to make sure that we mentioned on video. When we talked to David, our personal trainer, the other day about eating habits, and he's told me something that I didn't realize before. I've heard it sort of before, but not completely the way he explained it. But anytime we eat over 400 calories in a meal,
in one sitting,
then everything over that 400 calories is pretty much going to weight on our body.
It's going to storage, yeah.
It has to be stored because your body can only handle about 400 calories at a time. I thought that was very interesting because you and I have been doing good all through the day, and then we'd sit down at dinner and have probably our whole 1,500 calories. And, of course, 1,100 calories of that's probably going to our waist.
Right.
So no wonder we haven't been losing the weight. But I didn't realize, he was telling us, 1,800 calories a day, and I was saving those for one meal because I was so hungry by the time we finally did eat. So he suggested that we eat a lot of smaller meals, 300 to 400 calories at a time. Every
couple of hours. And boy, it was almost like clockwork yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 hours rolled around and my stomach's doing
And the other thing he mentioned that I thought was very interesting was that it takes about 100 calories to digest the meal you've just eaten. So if you're eating 300 to 400 calories, then within an hour you've burned another 100 calories of that. So, you're really only getting the 200 to 400, and then usually our regular routine, unless you're like us and sit all day, but usually you can burn those calories up in a couple of hours. So your body...
And then you're starting to work on your fat reserves.
Exactly. So that was very helpful to me to realize I need to eat good, healthy foods every 2 to 3 hours, but only small portions. And then I thought about what my kids used to do. I never made them finish the food on their plate because I knew that was part of my problem. And so I would just let them eat when they got hungry. And I would notice that I'd buy them a hamburger and they'd eat 2 or 3 bites and wrap it up and save it for later. And I was thinking, how can they be full? But when you train your body to just eat the way you're meant to eat, you get full quicker. So I'm still looking for that. Last night we got done, it was like, okay, where's the rest of the meal? And it was like, we got to have dessert, so we did good and had fruit instead, but I think it's also how our body's used to handling it.
Yes.
And what we've trained it to do.
Yes.
So it's breaking those bad habits and replacing it with better ones. So I found it hard yesterday too. Maybe not quite as hard because I didn't cut out the caffeine. I still have my coffee. But I don't put anything in my coffee. I just drink black.
Yeah.
So
I've still got the caffeine headache, but it's okay. I quit cold turkey smoking years ago too. So
I have a headache too, but I think it's from the sugar.
I can do a headache for a little while, and still be okay, not tempted. But I did really well. And when I looked at, and we wrote it down, that was the other thing.
Right.
Was owning what I'm eating.
Right.
Becoming responsible for it. And it's not to show anybody, it's just literally to know this is what it is. So when I looked back, I used my Fitness Pal and put everything in there. And when I looked back, just about every meal. And we still had 3 meals, had quite a few more snacks yesterday, but every meal was right around 400 calories.
Yep, mine too.
Was yours too?
When we stop when we get full, because
Yeah.
we were, you know, and it really helps to have somebody to say, "Are you full yet?" Or you know, you can leave that on your plate or whatever. So I found it helpful that we were doing it together, and it was right at 300 to 400 calories for each time we got full. But what I also realized was that unless we're doing it together, we tend to forget a lot of the foods we've eaten to write them down.
Yes,
You forgot about that apple.
Oh, an apple, yeah, I know.
Not that that's a
But
big
no,
deal,
I did.
but we don't always think about what we're putting in our mouth. We just eat out of habit.
Well, especially since I wasn't writing it down immediately.
Yeah.
I waited
And I
until
think we
last
should.
night to write it down.
So I'm
I
going
was
to try
busy.
to stick to
I was busy,
writing it
but
down as we eat it.
yeah, I had totally forgotten about it.
Okay. So I have another question.
All
too.
right.
Yesterday started the 10-day challenge at
Yes.
the gym.
Yes.
And we had to weigh in for that. And I know my weight was up, and I think yours
mine
was
was
either
too.
the same or up a little bit. How did that make you feel? To know we've worked so hard.
My first inclination was, oh, yeah. And then I let go of that. I thought, nope, I'm not going to do that. He told us when we started at the gym at a time when your body naturally wants to pack on more weight because it's cold and we don't go out much, and so you naturally want to pack on more weight. So he told us when he started, we're just going to bulk up on the muscle so that you've got more to burn more when it comes spring.
Right.
So when I got on the scale and I looked at it, I thought, it's okay. That's how much my armor weighs. And I'm getting ready to lay it down.
Ooh.
So it's okay.
Good for you.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I didn't look at the number. I told you I wasn't going to look at the number. I didn't look at the number. I just know, all right, now I've got more muscle to burn more fat. Now we're ready to burn more fat.
For me, when I looked at that scale, I was like, oh, crap. Because I gained quite a bit more. And I was so frustrated at first. Because I felt like I'd been doing better. And we have been eating better. We've just been eating too much. And as we
too
know
late.
now, too late at night and in one meal.
Yes. Yes.
You know. So I started to get upset with myself. And then I thought, no. And he kept trying to reassure me and say, it's okay, just make it through these 10 days and we'll talk after that. Just write everything down and I'll show you why you've been losing it. And then he also reminded me that this is the busy time, or the time when we build the muscle and the time when our body naturally puts on the weight. So I got through it and I'm okay. It was just that initial look was like, darn it, you know, how can we be working this hard in the gym and still putting on the weight? And then also I reminded myself, it's not about the numbers.
It's not.
It's really not. I feel better.
I do too.
And I
much
feel
better.
more solid, you know. I feel not so flabby. And yeah, there's still a lot of fat on this body, but it's sitting on top of muscle now. And that's going to make me bigger, but yet healthier. So it took me way longer than 6 months to put this on.
Yeah,
it's going to
exactly.
take me way longer than
Exactly.
6 months to get it
Exactly.
off. And I think if we build a solid foundation, then we're going to have
Exactly.
a better result later.
Exactly. That's the way I looked at it. All of that work that we've been doing at the gym, we've been building up the foundation again. The
Right.
underlayer. Yeah, the fat is the overlayer, but we've got to build the underlayer so that we can take care of
Right.
the overlayer.
And I'm thankful for David because he's concerned about the weight loss, but that's not his focus.
No.
His focus is on doing it the right way
Yes.
and getting us healthier.
Yes.
And a lot of, I think, personal trainers or fitness centers, so many people are just concerned about the weight loss that that's all they focus on, and so they don't do it the healthiest way because they lose the muscle mass too. You know, they're just interested
So
in
answer
results.
this question then. Why did you decide on a personal trainer?
Because I've had gym memberships and didn't use them
Yep.
after the first month, after the newness wears off, because I get bored really easy. And what my experience with the gym was, you go in the first day and they look at everything and they run you through the machines and they say, okay, here's what you need to do every day. And they give me a list of machines to work on. And then I go in every day and check it off as I work on that machine. And I get so bored by the end of the first month, I couldn't walk in there if I had to.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
the only other time I had done any kind of exercise that was interesting to me was karate because it was different every day.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I would be so sore when I left there and feel so worked out that I knew I was getting a lot of exercise, and yet it didn't feel like exercise because I was having fun while I did it, and it wasn't the same thing every day.
Yeah.
You know, so I started looking. I thought I can't afford a personal trainer, but the way David does it, where he trains a group of us at once, it just works for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that expensive, and it's not boring.
Well,
It's different every day, and I can ask him questions, and
Yes.
he tells me why I'm losing weight or why I'm not losing weight, and why I should eat this way, and he's there to help me, and it just makes it so much easier. He's the one that does all the studying about what's going to kill me and what's not. You know.
Well, and we both decided that we'd rather spend the money. We're going to spend money on
Health care.
care for this body, and I'd rather spend it on well care
Right.
than sickness.
Right.
So it was a point where I looked at the money and I thought, you know what, this is really reasonable. This is what I'm going to get out of it.
Right.
You know, and we go 3 or 4 times a week, and the benefits from it, like I said, I've had a major shift here, which I know is going to translate into a major shift
Right.
in the body.
But it's not going to happen overnight, or
No.
even in 6 months.
No.
You know.
But I didn't. It took years and years to put it on, and it's illogical to think I can get this off within a matter of weeks.
Right. He's
And
a
keep
smart
it off.
man too.
He's very smart.
He's
man.
figured out how to let people pay him to kick their butt.
He's a very smart man. But it was probably one of our better decisions.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
now we've got somebody to help get us through those plateaus when I would have quit already.
Right. And to encourage us.
Yes.
And
And he does a lot of
motivate us.
encouraging. You know, a lot of times he'll say, just get here. We'll work with wherever you're at. Just get here.
and the girls enjoy it too,
Mm-hmm.
which shocks me that they've stuck with it this long.
They watched us a couple of times and then decided they wanted to try it. And it's really working. And it's really helping them to work on it together.
Right.
You know. So now there's not a balking when we choose different things for dinner besides pizza and everything
Right.
else.